He is a specialist in failure. I'm not.
Hello everyone, welcome to Specialists in Failure podcast. This is the After Hours News Show. My name is Mr. Reece. Donnelly. I don't know I'm particularly a mister there, but there we are. In the week where Jose's dark clouds descended once again, we are here to help you through this mad footballing world. As ever, I am joined by my lovely two co-hosts, as I've felt I better pay them a compliment for once. I'll introduce the one I called a lonely man first this time. Please welcome back to the podcast, Dan Keane. Hello.
Yeah, I do appreciate the compliment after last week. Although I'm not expecting the compliments to be a common theme, but I'll take them where I can. And yeah, happy to be back.
Depends on your opinions if I call you lonely or lovely. I'll have like a board, like Santa's nice and naughty list.
It's a bit weird.
Yeah, it made me sound about 11 there.
Oh well, right. Let's move on.
People may like 11-year-olds. And on that note, please welcome my next co-host.
No, I'm leaving now.
Welcome back to the podcast, Callum Emerson. Callum, hello.
Hello there.
That didn't help the 11 image.
Is that it? Just hello.
It's a pleasure to be here. It really is, gentlemen.
You can tell how excited he is to do this podcast. It's been in the running for. All right, go on then, finish off.
Hello, it's really nice to be back. Hope you enjoy this second wonderful episode of Specialists in Failure.
Yeah, the sarcasm isn't appreciated.
Yeah, I have a feeling there's a little bit of sarcasm in there. I'm not sure how I'm picking this up, but I think there might be.
As host, I do the sarcasm, you smile, and throw in the occasional fake laugh in there.
Oh, like you start to do that anyway.
Fake laugh, I do that on the regular with you and your tweets, so it's good. I'm used to it.
On to football now. Right, let's jump straight in, as we always do, with our hot takes. This week we're just going to go with one hot take and debate it, and this week it is mine. My opinion is that Raheem Sterling will be England's most important player for the Euros. Now, everyone is going to tell me Harry Kane, but I think Harry Kane can perform whether we get to the group stages or whether we win the whole thing. Harry Kane is Harry Kane, whereas Sterling, we haven't seen that consistency in terms of goals and assists, but we do see consistency in terms of his turn of pace, in terms of his runs in behind, in terms of his danger. He's quite a unique footballer, and I feel if England are going to be on top form and tick, Sterling needs to tick. For me, Sterling A has to play. That can't be in a doubt for me. And B, if he does play well, I think England will play. Yeah, I know it feels it, but England will be a better team and certainly more dangerous team. Whereas I think Harry Kane can play well, and England can't, for example. Dan, I'll jump to you on this. Raheem Sterling is a footballer that causes a lot of debate. Where do you fall?
Well, personally, I've never seen him not set the world alight, because obviously I've seen him obviously some of his numbers in some seasons, or just say half a season or whatever, have been insane. But he doesn't strike me as a player that's ever. He won't do loads of world class things. This may be a hot take in itself, that I've never been entirely sold on him, regardless of what numbers he's been putting out. Obviously, I can't deny his ability, but I've personally never seen it. He seems like quite a one-dimensional footballer, if that makes sense.
I think he's a very different footballer than when Liverpool had him.
Definitely.
I think he's become a bit of a robot, which is what Pep's teams do. That's what they are, but he's still very, very dangerous. Now, England have a lot of players on the wing this year. Grealish has played on the wing. Foden's played on the wing. Saka can play on the wing. And obviously you have Sancho, you have Rashford, who just got an assist, a crucial assist for them. And then you have Sterling, and then you have all these different options. I assume we're going to play a 4-3-3 this year. For me, Sterling has to be in there, and I'll probably go with Grealish due to while Sterling's a more direct footballer now in terms of his runs and space, Grealish is your flair. So, not so much an evaluation of the options, because we'll get into England a bit more later, but for you, does Sterling get into that front three?
I'd say yes, he does, purely for the output that he's capable of.
So you
that's about
agree
it. Because
that he's kind of crucial to England's chances of proceeding.
I don't agree with you saying that he's crucial just for England performing themselves, but he will, if he performs well, then that could be the difference. I'll say that, but I wouldn't say it would be a massive loss without him. But if he's on form, then he's just something else.
Yeah, he's very, very different to other options. He's not particularly, I hate the term pace and power based, but he's not exactly skillful based like Mahrez. I think he's quite a nice middle ground in there. Callum, thoughts on Sterling? Thoughts on his importance to England?
So what I'd say is, so with Sterling, the past few years, I'd say he's always been one of the first names in the team sheet. And I think that's probably just because the past few years we've been lacking any real quality except for Sterling. Maybe I'd say you'd probably argue a case for Rashford, but I think back a few years, I think you'd look at Rashford as more as a striker or who'd replace.
I think Rashford's the one that still needs developing the most.
Yeah, but I think this Euros, I think that Southgate can afford to, rotate different players and sometimes leave Sterling out because, looking at the Premier League, with Grealish, he's upped his quality. Rashford as well. Rashford's upped his quality, and just say Jadon Sancho as well. But I think I don't see Jadon Sancho can take over Sterling, but I think. Oh, let me try and think of my point here. But yeah, basically just
point.
Just what I'm trying to say is like, if you ask this question, like, let's say around the 2018 World Cup, I'd say Sterling starts, Sterling stays, end of. I'm not saying Sterling doesn't have quality anymore, because he does. He is still a very, very good footballer. But I think now with the quality that's also coming up with him, I think that, if you rested Sterling for a game, I don't think it would have any major effect.
I don't doubt we've got the options to rotate. My general point is more of, but as we said, we all admit he's got quality. I think my general point was in terms of if he shows that quality, that is a defining factor. Because if I told you to name England's best players in terms of talent, I find it hard to believe Sterling's not in your top 5.
Yeah, if you're saying that, and any other player could make that top 3 or top 5, depending on how on form they are. Like you can't say like solidly. I suppose maybe if they're constantly doing it and doing it again, but like, so as I was saying, like, a couple of years ago, definitely, but this year, because quality that's coming up, and because I think that we can probably not place or start Sterling anyway every game, I don't see him as the most important to the team. If you get what I mean.
Yeah, I fully get what you mean. I don't think he's most important, because that one obviously does go to the likes of Harry Kane and probably whoever starts centre back. Dear God, please not Joe Gomez. But I mean, in terms of his, how do I put this? If he's on form, I feel personally that changes everything. Whereas I think Kane.
Yeah, but you can make the same argument for Grealish, and you can make the same argument for Rashford. So if you
I think Grealish can play. What I think he's proven with Villa, though he can be world class in a struggling team. Whereas I think Sterling is crucial in terms of. But even we saw it in the World Cup, and someone feel free to jump in here because it brought a lot of debate. Obviously, Sterling didn't actually get a goal or an assist, but everyone saw how crucial he was. I'm not sure if he's going to be afforded the same this year. Obviously, his goals and assist numbers aren't like ridiculous this season compared to his other players, but for me, in terms of his unpredictability, in terms of his pace, I think he brings different things to the game. So I feel,
but the thing is that unpredictability, is that something that you can afford at the Euros or at any national tournament? It may be if you're in the qualifiers or if you're in the friendlies, but if I was an international manager and I was looking at a player who was performing week in, week out, but he's only been doing it for one season, or if I'm looking at a player who's in previous seasons performed week in, week out, but in the recent run of games before your team selection, he's been a bit unpredictable. One game he could be good, one game he could be bad. Who would you go for? I know who I'd go for. I'd go for the player that's been in form in that moment, and I don't think that's Sterling.
I'm with you on that.
I do get your point. Your point's definitely a valid one. I think it's difficult with international football, and I know we're going to talk about it later with Jordan Pickford, for example. Not had the best of times with Everton, but goes to England and is a completely different player. So it's very.
I get
difficult.
that can be a factor. Yeah,
I'd also look at the relationship with Harry Kane. I think those two have a better understanding, and I don't know what it is. I'm a big admirer of Marcus Rashford, but if I wanted to win a game of football, I'm playing Sterling, and that's, I don't know what it is that drags me to that. Maybe it's his output in general. Maybe it's me falling into the kind of trap about hype. But for me, right now, Sterling walks into my England side. So yeah, controversial, I know, because I'm pretty sure you could ask 100 men on the street who England's kind of most important player will be for the Euros, and I doubt Raheem Sterling's name will be top of that list. Apart from Harry Kane, who do you two feel are crucial to England's chances?
I'm not too sure, really. I think it's got to be more of a. This is going to sound really like cringy or whatever, but I'd say it's more of a team effort, because we can't just be focusing on specific players themselves. What?
You're not doing a player interview. It was a team effort. Boys worked really hard.
Reece was so funny.
I know. Anyway, carry on, Dan. Boys worked
really
hard. I don't
know what I was saying.
It's got to be more of a team effort, and you don't know.
Yeah, we can't just be relying on the simple players as being crucial to the team.
No, but
what we need is.
But for argument's sake, who would you say is the most crucial player?
Harry Kane.
I can't think of a player specifically, but if I was to name a position, I can't think of a name specifically. But if I was to name a position, I'd probably say our centre backs are more important. So whoever's in there. So say if Maguire plays there, then
Viva la John
if
Stones.
Maguire, or even John Stones, one of the two, or even both, I feel like they'll be more important than our attacking players because I think obviously John Stones has had a bit of a on and off, not just international, just career in general. He's had a bit of on and off. Yeah, he's on a good run at the moment. We can only hope that keeps up, just because he's had a bit of an on and off career on the international stage.
Okay, so
and the same with Maguire. Like he's clearly better than more people think. He's not just.
He's been outstanding.
If he didn't have a square head, he wouldn't be memed as much. But that's literally it. He is a good centre back. He can be clumsy at times, but what centre back can't?
If anything, a square head helps the centre back, so I don't know why people mock it. But yeah, since that Spurs game, Maguire's been really impressive, and I agree with you. The centre back pairing will be interesting, but for me, I do agree it'll be Stones and Maguire. Cal, who's most important for you?
So I am sort of, siding with Dan here, because I think,
you two are bullying me.
Didn't ask.
There's 2 weeks in a row we disagree with you. What does that tell you?
That I need new co-hosts.
So with the attack of England, I mean, it used to be the other way around. Like, the 2010s coming with like Rio Ferdinand, John Terry, Ashley Cole, the likes. And who do we have up top? Rooney, of course, but Emil Heskey, obviously he's not like awful.
Although, if you ask Rooney who his best strike partner was, he loved Heskey because he did all the ugly work. But I get your point.
But recently it's been more of a, the defense has been sort of more of the worry, and it's come. We've been the England team's been able to score goals, but I think it's become sort of like we're still conceding them as well.
Yeah, we're conceding. It seems to be we're conceding a few. Like, it's just stupid goals, if that makes sense. It's goals that are preventable. So I feel like if we have a solid centre-back partnership, then that could just do wonders.
Let's not put Carl Walker at centre-back.
No. But for Southgate, what he has to do is he has to look, at the defence. I think that... Sorry, 1 second. Let me restart that a little bit. I think that's where his main focuses should be. So
with a 4-3-3, the defence is somewhat exposed. You obviously have the type of fullbacks we got. Trent will probably start. I disagree with that personally, but there we are. We've got very high wing backs. The fullbacks will be very high. So the centre backs will be isolated at times. So I'll be interested to see who plays there. Generally, it's got to be one head it, kick it sort of centre back, and one kind of mobile one. So for me, that would be Maguire and Stones. But I get other arguments. I mean, for me, I'd like to see a 3 at the back, but I can't see that happening so close to the Euros. But yeah, the centre backs are going to be crucial. Dan, I know you mentioned Stones and Maguire, and I know I said I'd choose Stones and Maguire just quickly, and then I'll ask Cal as well. Who's your centre back, Dylan?
Yeah, but as you said, I know it sounds a bit boring, but I'd go with that. I don't see. I know Mings will probably be rotated in and out for maybe say if the group's 1 or a third place one even, or if we play 3 at the back, 5 or 3 to 5. 3/5 at the back.
If we have 3 at the back.
I forgot about him.
This love affair with Tyrone Mings has to stop. He's not even in Aston Villa's best English centre-back. It's ridiculous. Although he did put in a very good performance today. But he does fit that head it, kick it kind of model, I suppose. Cal, same question. I have a feeling it might be the same result.
Yeah, it's your lucky day. We finally agree with you.
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah. So I'm going to make sure I disagree with you on every point now.
And on that note, it's time to start to go to the news round. It was Chelsea Spurs on Thursday. It was hyped up as a big match for both sides. Was expecting a quality football match for both sides, and the quality.
Well, yeah.
It's fair
Well, yeah.
It's fair to say was a bit one-sided.
Who told you that?
Yeah, that's.
I really, yeah, personally, I was not
I
expecting
think
a high quality affair.
The game, I think that with the game, I could see, the first half and the second half were two very, very different stories. I think with the first half, I think Mourinho definitely got it wrong. Whether
No doubt.
Obviously, I'm also I'll get that into that in a bit. But I think that first half, I think Mourinho just wanted to see, what's Tuchel's plan. I think he was trying to, I feel like he was probably trying to lure the Chelsea players into a false sense of security, and then in the second half probably launch it forward a bit more, apply pressure just as the Chelsea players are getting comfortable being in the attacking third. And you could definitely see that in the second half, because that's when Spurs started to get forward a bit more, started creating a few more chances. But I also think that Chelsea did well to hold on to the goal, even though it was a penalty. But I think I think Chelsea could have been more clinical as well. Even though I will give hats off Eric Dyer, except for the penalty given away, he played very well, and he definitely him and Aurier, they kept Spurs in the game.
I don't know about Dan, but I disagree with Dyer.
I disagree with Dyer. He was after the goal. He did make a few goals. I would say goal saving, but he did make a few decent challenges. But it's ones you'd expect. He didn't strike me as like he's not. It's not like he's recovered. He didn't really recover from it because his head was still clearly gone from the pass back to Reece, where he's nearly lobbed his own goalkeeper from. That's only a basic pass. He's only 12 yards in front of him. I still think his head was in the mindset of I have to correct this, so that's why he's tried the audacious back pass. I guess it can be, but with a player like him, it seems like he has to play. I saw on Twitter actually. It's like he has to play like he's fired up all the time, which can lead to those sort of mistakes. As in, he's let Werner get in front of him, so he has to clear the ball straight away. And no, he doesn't have to. Maybe he has to maybe get back up or just try and usher him inside into force him into Alderweireld.
I think Dyer could have just left it, because I don't think in that if Werner had got the ball that second, he wasn't in a position to score, because there was at least two, like one or two players in front of Reece anyway.
Yeah, it wasn't the easiest chance in the world.
I think it was. I'm not saying that Dyer had an amazing game. Well, obviously, there was some moments, some poor moments, which has been worryingly common with Dyer. But I'm not. But he wasn't the worst player on the field, and he definitely. I definitely, when I was watching it, I definitely noticed that he had some sort of effect. I'm
not denying that.
I know you're saying that there was it's all simple blocks. You should be expected to do that.
That's not what's.
He's as long as he's doing what he's required to do, surely that's enough.
I didn't mean just he was doing just all the simple stuff. He was doing what you'd expect. And I said he did make a few crucial blocks. But it was. I'm not saying that it's a bad thing, because he's done what he's asked to do. I'm not saying it's a bad thing that he's done the simple stuff, right? Because sometimes that's the most difficult thing to do. Because you get more time to think, as I said, proven by the back pass. That's one of the easiest things to do, and you see how often players get a bit more time and they think and they do something stupid. So he did. He had. If it wasn't for that, I'd say he'd been a little clumsy during the game, but I wouldn't have said it's particularly bad of performance. I'd say it's just a standard performance if he hadn't made that mistake, but you could tell that was in his head from the second it happened.
Yeah,
I think,
but can I also sorry, Reece, you go.
I think the main thing was how deep Werner dropped at times, and I don't think Spurs were expecting it. And then they have the wing backs pretty much playing as high as they possibly can, pushing the fullbacks, and then you have the centre backs isolated. Now, if I'm a striker, and you ask me to isolate, like run at one centre back in the top six, Eric Dyer, due to his rashness in terms of his, how do I put this, strength in terms of his general play, I would be quite high up my list. And I just don't think he could handle it because Alonso
But that's why I said that about Aurier as well, because I did notice, because there was that moment, I think Werner was nearly just about through, like right in front of Reece, and then at the last second Aurier puts in a last ditch tackle, and then manages to get the ball over the bar.
Let's be frank. Chelsea dictated a minute from the get go. It's not.
I wouldn't say the whole game. I'd say the later we got on, I think that's when Spurs started to sort of come into it a little bit more. But obviously, it wasn't enough.
That's going to happen when you're 1-0 up. I think if you were watching that match, you'd say Chelsea dominated, wouldn't you? I mean, Spurs had.
Oh yeah.
Spurs made one pass into the box in the first 45 minutes at home. Like that's Graham Wesley standard stuff. Let's talk about Chelsea for a minute, because obviously last time we spoke, Lampard was on the brink. He's since been sacked.
On to Chelsea, and I'll prefer talking about Chelsea than Spurs.
That's a surprise.
I am shocked.
But no, honestly, I think that's the first time in a while I've sat down and I've actually enjoyed watching Chelsea in a while.
Seconded.
Because it just because I mean, with Lampard, with the season it's been, I've always felt he's still quite uncertain, and especially during his the last run of games, even against Luton, I was just like, I don't know what's going to happen here then. But I think the players look more confident. They have the first half. There was I felt there was a lot more swagger about them. There's for example like with Reece James, and I was every time I saw Reece James had the ball, he was pretty much he was doing something. He looked confident on it, and he was always putting the ball into good areas. He was always making the pass, and and also with I think Jorginho and Alonso as well. They look revitalised under Tuchel, and they're both
Tuchel. I like that. Tuchel.
Oh, his name's Tuchel. Thomas Tuchel.
Haha, good one.
Well, how do you actually pronounce it?
Tuchel.
Tuchel.
Yeah.
Tuchel. That makes him sound French, doesn't it? Tuchel. Yeah.
Comedy genius.
Was it? What is it? Sorry, Tuchel.
Yeah.
I'm going to call him the Tooch. Right?
The Tuchmeister General.
Right, so we get off this tangent back to the football.
We debate the big things
going off this tangent.
But anyway, back to my point anyway. But yeah, so it's like with Alonso and Jorginho, they're definitely players. Under the right management, they can thrive. So like with Alonso, the past couple of games, I haven't seen Alonso like that since the title-winning season under Conte.
Yeah,
Jorginho as well. I think when Sarri was at the club, he was probably one of the best players at the time.
I think the main difference for me is they there was a clicking thing, and I think that's the first time I've looked at Chelsea since Conte and gone, that's championship winning football, that's title winning football. They look like they've played together. There was partnerships forming. I thought the Jorginho Kovacic pivot was very handy. Mason Mount was absolutely sensational. Reece James and Alonso were confident enough to be that high up the pitch. Shout out to Timo Werner, who we discussed last podcast, but dropped very deep in the underlines, and it just looked everything.
Yeah, but
not comfortable. There was a certain intensity to them, and as you said, the swagger. I
think Werner definitely looks more comfortable. I think
it's hard to say so soon, isn't it? But
I think from where he was,
he's in a role that suits
he
him.
wasn't exactly pulling off shots left, right, and centre, but he was
he wasn't snatching. He doesn't seem to be snatching at things. He wasn't.
Yeah,
he just seemed more. He seemed more assured in what he was doing, and I guess that was throughout the team. And I think honestly, that's credit to Tuchel, if anything, or however you say it. I'm not
Thomas,
saying
let's
that.
Let's go with Thomas.
No, right.
Tom the Tuchel.
Right.
I think you could probably. I think you could probably listen to my eyebrows rolling there. Eyebrows rolling to my eyes rolling. But
back to the eyebrows rolling.
But yeah, I'd say it's credit to Thomas the Tuchel engine. I don't know.
Fuck off.
It's a massive credit to him that he managed to install a sense of identity when he's been in charge. What, a week and a half?
I think
less than a week.
The big
2 weeks. I'm not sure.
The big stamp for me is when, obviously, his Dortmund time was very exciting, and he had a player who he absolutely adored called Julian Weigl. He is the remake of Jorginho, and you just felt Jorginho would kind of thrive under him, and Jorginho already looks not. I don't even want to say it, but even better than he did under Sarri at Chelsea.
He does look a better player.
And as we've said here, 2 weeks back about Chelsea need that sort of player, and it just clicked. He's Tuchel, Tuchmeister. He generally hasn't played that dropping forward because he's had so many different forwards. I think he had one in Paco or Salsa, but in terms of he's had a Cardi and people like that, and these aren't ordinarily strikers that drop in, but he's adapted and he's made Werner suit that role, and Werner looks a better player. He hasn't really chosen attacking fullbacks throughout his career, but he's dealt with it very well. He's not only imprinted an identity in 2 weeks, but he's almost adapted to the Chelsea job already, and he's already kind of, right, I'm the Chelsea manager now, whereas with Lampard it always felt a little bit like he was up on work experience. There's just...
Yeah, I do get your point.
There's a presence.
Yeah. And I think, to show, the experience he's had with clubs like, Dortmund and also PSG, I think that's where, hold on, let me think. I think that's why there's been improvement, because of the career Tuch has had.
There's respect.
Compared to, in comparison to Lampard, because Lampard, I know people say, oh, he's only at Derby, but he's been management 3 or 4 seasons now. I think
he had Derby and then Chelsea, so this would only be his 3rd season.
Yeah, and then compared to Tuchel, and also the magnitude of the clubs that Thomas has been at compared to Lampard, I think,
and the personalities as well. Tuchel is the only manager to get the best out of Neymar and Mbappe as a duo.
Yeah.
And that's, don't get me wrong, that's a very hard task. And he's managed all these different sorts of players at Dortmund, and I think he's lost one home game in his whole career. It's just kind of a presence. It brings players confidence and swagger, and almost because he's known as quite a heavy tactician, any compliment will mean that much more, and they might work harder for him. I imagine there's a lot more tactical instruction. It certainly looks that way from what we've seen, and it's just a game plan with Chelsea at the minute, and each player knows their role, and that's a seriously impressive job to do in 2 weeks. On to the other side in that game that didn't have such a good game plan. There was an article in the week by Miguel Delaney, who said there are concerns around Tottenham's camp that Jose's attacking instruction is basically give it to Kane and Son. It's very simple. Well, I think that's wrong for one major reason. Spurs don't attack.
Yeah.
Just a couple of words on Spurs, Dan. They're horrible to watch, basically, right now.
Yeah, they are, and I don't know what to say really, because I know Jose team has never been properly famed for having for playing incredible tiki-taka football. It's always known for obviously sit back and like counter.
No, I wouldn't say just sit back. I think it was more,
Jose is generally
grind out the games, but I think
1-0.
But
try and score a goal, then park the bus in Salah.
But you can't always do that, and in a way, like football's passed him by a little bit, if that makes any sense. Because it is quite simple what he does, and because you can just tell from the amount that Son and Kane linked up, they've gone kick it to each other. He'll be able to finish it, or kick it to him, or just make sure you get it in that area. He'll finish it.
Which was my point about Son last week. Son is kind of made for Jose Mourinho, and Kane suits that obviously because Harry Kane is,
he can make things out of nowhere. But I think both players can make things out of nowhere, so it's ideal for a Jose team. Them two have made him look like a better manager. But I think you only need to look at earlier in the season.
Better. This idea that Spurs have been defensively good this season before now is just a myth, and they didn't exactly look defensively strong on Thursday. As I said before with Spurs don't have the players to play this defensive football. So what? Like we've seen it with Tuchel, he's not used to usually having a deep line forward and having as attacking fullbacks as he does. But he's adapted to the situation, whereas Jose Mourinho has an elite ball winner in Højbjerg, has an elite ball carrier in Dembele, has a decent enough defence to
it's not a terrible defence.
Balanced football, but these people are going, well, this side isn't good enough to play attacking football. Well, defensive football is harder to master, and you adapt to what you've got.
Because if you make a mistake in the attacking half, then you can make up for it. But if you can make up for it, 'cause you're more than likely get more chances if you're playing attacking football. If you're playing defensive, you'll be sitting back more, and if a defender makes an error like Dyer did, granted he did do okay to recover from it. That's all where that will always be in their head. It will constantly be in their head, and it will be in the head of the keeper. There'll be a little less trust. Speaking personally from playing from obviously being a goalkeeper for quite a few years, you do lose a bit. I've dropped my phone. You do lose a bit of trust in the defence, which, if anything, I guess it can make the keeper like switch off a little bit. Well, actually, not even that. I'd say maybe they have them more alert and maybe more likely to come flying out for balls they probably shouldn't do. And
It's harder to master defensive football than attacking football.
Yeah, that's pretty much summed it up. Yes, it's much more difficult because I can't sum up very quickly, but you get the idea. It's just
I get your point. Yeah, I think
from my experience
um,
playing defensive football, you have to have such a much stronger mindset, and you can't have players that are susceptible to making stupid decisions or being rash. Like I would say usually Aurier, but he's been quite good this season. I'd say, or just even Dyer. You can't really afford to play that sort of football when you've got a centre back like Eric Dyer at the back. Not saying he wasn't good at the beginning of the season, but he's not one you can rely on. It's not. I don't say he's someone you can rely on constantly to play a certain way of football.
Obviously, with Chelsea's fullbacks, wing backs so high during the game, there was a lot of spaces in those pockets between the centre backs and out wide, and those are the spaces Son should be attacking, but he's not doing that because he's covering Spurs' left back. It just seems it doesn't particularly make sense to me. And when you have such a simple game plan, you see it with a lot of young managers, even older managers now, such as Mark Hughes, for example. You see that when they have a simple game plan and the kind of aura of them being there fades, and the aura of the kind of project, it slowly fades away and it loses faith. I mean, we saw it with Dele Alli in the Spurs documentary, so we're just knocking it long and defending, and that's kind of the point. The players just get tired of that no player wants to play that type of football. They want to win, but I'm yet to see that football pay off past 2010 for like a trophy winning side, bar Atletico when they won La Liga, but even they're a different side now, so it just doesn't make much sense to me. Cal, quick on Spurs. Who would want to be a Spurs fan right now?
Bloody no one. It's just because I think it brings us back to I think with our last podcast when we was talking about Leeds and I think it was Crystal Palace. It was, would you rather watch good football but finish 15th or play ugly football and finish 10th? And I think like that week I said I'd rather watch ugly football and be winning, but for ugly football to work, you have to be winning. And I think Jose Mourinho is trying to play ugly football, and he's not winning. So I really wouldn't want to be a Spurs supporter at the moment, just because they're not getting results, and the football they're watching is just pure shite.
And that's
like Jose isn't changing his mind. He's evidently a very stubborn manager.
I think the big thing is
that's his downfall. Yeah, that's his downfall. Whereas obviously maybe when he'd done really well at Chelsea and his first spell, when he'd done really well then, is I guess stubborn sticking with the same thing can sometimes work, but when there's trends of things not working, not just say being unlucky in a game, but there's specific trends in games of things not working, of them not getting forward enough, or them being too reliant on a certain system. It's just never going to work, and I feel like it's that sort of football is unless you have the players and you have everyone on board with the mindset of we are going to play this football, then it's not going to work. Even one player could ruin that atmosphere. Just think, oh, if he's not either, and then they'd second guess it because they'd see another player and they'd think about it more. So I don't see. No one will want to be a Spurs fan at the moment, and I don't see them improving too much. And I struggle to see them getting near Champions League again.
Yeah, the last point
They'll be in the. I feel like they'll be Europa League or Europa League qualifiers, same as last season.
Yeah, I think the last point to be made is when you're playing bad football, patience runs out quite quickly on results. Whereas if there's a commitment to trying to get the best out of some players and there's clear plans in place, it's quite easier to support a manager. I think Spurs are relying on individual excellence, and when it's clear Bale's not going to provide that for Spurs, that loan's been nothing short of a disaster so far, then it's very difficult because Son, as I mentioned, is streaky and quite a simple footballer, and Harry Kane has ankles made of Play-Doh. And that's no insult to Harry Kane, but it's very hard to, rely on individual excellence and then not have any. So yeah, stressful times at Spurs in a minute. To football we don't enjoy, to football we do enjoy. Neymar has turned 29 today. I'm going to surprise.
I couldn't believe that when I saw it.
Yeah, I think most people are the same in terms of he's 29, and I think most people kind of just sighed and said the same thing. Wasted career, it feels like, really. I don't know where you two fall on it, but Neymar's a joy to watch when he's on it. Many think he should have stayed at Barcelona. That MSN trio will go down in history. And I feel for me, he's the real Brazilian star boy that kind of lived up to their hype, but you can't help but feel it feels like a wasted career. He's now signed he's about to sign a new contract at PSG, a 5-year contract. So by the time he's probably able to leave, because Barcelona certainly aren't getting him for any money with the debt they're in, he'll be 34. Where do we fall on Neymar? He causes controversy, obviously a wonderful footballer, but there's obviously a debate if he's ever lived up to what he can offer.
Yeah, I don't really know, because you look back at it and you think, wow, he's had such a good career, and then you look at his age and you think, given his ability, you should really be expecting better than what he's got. And I'm pretty much repeating what you've said, but
remember what Neymar's won at Barcelona, though.
Not denying that. But I feel like going to PSG. I don't want to sound like a knob here, but I guess it sounds a bit like the easy road. It's a team that he didn't need to join. If he doesn't join them, they're going to sign someone else, and they're going to smash They're going to smash the league anyway.
I think something now always hold Neymar back is his world stage performances. Obviously, Brazil have never lived up to what they have. I mean, just going to go through the stats. Santos, 102 appearances, 54 goals. Barcelona, 123 appearances, 68 goals. PSG, 62 appearances, 53 goals. Brazil, 103 appearances, 64 goals. Those are, not Messi, Ronaldo numbers, but we're talking like one of the greatest footballers of our generation. Whereas if I was told to name, for example, the top 5 players of a generation, Neymar's far from the first one that pops into my head, and it always felt he could leave more of an impact. But
I don't doubt he's like an insane footballer, and he has had he's had quite a good career. Obviously, you see what he did at Barcelona.
Why does it always feel like could have done more? Because obviously his goal record is insane. It's a
This
question
record
I'm
is
struggling with as well, so I'm forcing it on you two. Why does it always feel like, Neymar could have done more?
As I said, I think because PSG are a team that would have near enough smashed the league anyway.
He did nearly win the Champions League.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
He didn't. Has he won the Champions League with Barcelona? I'm pretty sure
He did win it with Barcelona. He scored in the final, 2013.
Yeah.
2014, possibly. Yeah, 2014.
No,
2014.
Yeah, because Munich won it in 2013.
Yes.
It's just I'm not denying what competition he's gone to. I'm talking about just the league itself. I don't want to sound like one of those people that will say, "Oh, Messi's never proven it in different leagues, so he's worse." No, clearly isn't. But I don't know. It's like you wouldn't see Neymar as a player that would say if he was in a poor team, you wouldn't see him dragging them through. You'd see him maybe. I don't really want. As I said again, I don't want to sound like a knob again. But he feels like one that would lose his head, and he wouldn't be He wouldn't be a great leader. I don't think, and I think he's not really led Brazil to anything. Obviously, it's insane numbers, but he's not someone that can carry a team through a game. And
do you feel he's a luxury player?
What do you mean?
As in, he's kind of a luxury to have on a pitch. He won't have too much of an impact, but you'll turn around and he'll score 3. Not so much lazy. Who else could I call a luxury player? Riyad Mahrez doesn't have too much of an impact on a game. You go, like some would accuse him of being lazy, to use a League 2 example. Marcus Maddison, to use a Stevenage example. Ben Kennedy. I know these people won't all know who they are, but still, you kind of get the question that I'm asking. Cal, thoughts on Neymar? Could he have done more? We're talking like he's dead.
Yeah, isn't it? But I think the only thing that's missing for him is a World Cup with Brazil. I do get, sort of the big money move to PSG, because that's football these days. He obviously didn't go because he adored the club's history, but it's still, it's not always been easy in the French league for him as well. I mean, he's probably won it every single year. Please fact check me on that if I'm wrong. But he still has the quality.
Yeah. I mean,
I think that he's one that won't last to say what Ronaldo and Messi are doing.
No, definitely
be proved wrong.
But I think I don't think it's a wasted career, because he hasn't just gone off to some European club. No, not European. Sorry,
he's not gone back to South America or something.
Or he hasn't just gone off to China. Or he just hasn't gone off to China for a massive payday. He's like PSG. They're still got constantly up there. The champion.
Yeah, they are still an elite team, and I think.
And he's still an elite team, and I was at the time, obviously, when he did go to PSG, I thought, he's going for the money, he's wasting his career. But looking back at it, I don't agree with what I said all them years ago, because he went to a club who were always still trying to compete to be the best, and even though that obviously he hasn't achieved that in Europe with PSG, as I said, his whole career he's still achieved major silverware. He's won the Spanish league. He's won the Champions League still with Barcelona, the French league as well. So I wouldn't say it's a wasted career. Maybe done more. If you get what I mean, maybe.
Yeah, I think that's everyone's attitude towards it, really.
Yeah.
Like,
But
we don't really know
think
what
it's
too much that's missing, but at the same time, we don't know. Yeah, we don't know what too much is missing, but it just something feels like it does. It just doesn't feel right that he's getting on a bit. I guess you also have to consider what age did he sign for Barcelona? He was so he didn't start too early. It's not like he got on the main stage too early in his career, and I think a player like him was always going to have a relatively short career at the top, if that makes sense. Obviously, I'd say compared to some players, obviously he's like 10 years. It's still a lot. It's still insane. But a player like him, I guess, yeah, as Reece said, it's a luxury player who will he'll be world class for about 6-7 the whole 6-7 years or however long he has been playing from Barcelona to Barcelona and PSG, and then he would fizzle out a bit because I don't think he's I don't think he's a player that will last to 33, 34 and outputting similar numbers that he has been now. Obviously, you'll see. Obviously, he's still very good. He'll still be very good. He'll still have the technical attributes, but I just don't see him lasting too much longer, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, this is kind of his peak, really. I think, is he possibly caught in the wrong era? I think we're in a very goals assist based era now in terms of play. That's what players are judged on, whereas previously you had so many players that didn't actually get that many goals and assists, but got high regard. I know obviously it's a silly example given he did score quite a lot of goals, but someone like Ronaldinho, him and Neymar obviously got compared. Would Neymar have been judged differently in 1998? Yes, I think he would have. I think he'd be treated differently. And it's kind of that Bruno Fernandes, Kevin De Bruyne debate, isn't it? Okay, they both provide output. De Bruyne still provides a lot of output, but the more aesthetically pleasing player for everyone is Kevin De Bruyne. But Bruno makes something happen every single week, apart from when I need him to.
Yeah, so except when I triple captained him against fucking Sheffield United, yeah.
Yeah, apart from when I need him on my FPL to step up. But I think Neymar's kind of fallen in that trap of right player, wrong time, in terms of he's in such a world where you're judged on winning things, which he's won a lot, but in terms of goals and assists and stuff like that, and your output, and therefore I don't think we've fully appreciated him as a footballer. If you haven't already, please, when he's not with his sister, please go and watch a PSG game and just watch Neymar. Just look at Neymar, and it is honestly unbelievable to watch. But I think the point we can all make on Neymar is just it was never enough, and I don't think when we look back at this era in 20 years' time we'll go, remember Neymar? I just don't think that will happen, and it's a shame really, given how talented he actually is.
I'm not saying he's any better, but you'd remember Hazard more than you would Neymar.
Yeah, 100%.
I'm not saying he's better. I'd say obviously Neymar is better and was better.
No, never.
Pure ability. I'm not talking effect on a side or whatever. I'm talking pure ability on its own. I would say, I know you've got there is a Chelsea bias there, but no, I don't blame you for it. But I'd say pure.
No,
pure.
I was just taking the piss. No, I agree with you.
Yeah.
Yeah, your point's perfectly valid.
Yeah, Neymar, he would always be known for
Taking the sister.
like I don't know the right word for it. Yes,
Cow's
that
head.
too.
Am I
that
wrong?
too. Yeah, he will be. Yeah, that too. But he will always be known for his obviously flicks and tricks and just the special things he does. But but if you're thinking about a player who leaves more of an impact on football itself, you'd look back and you'd think Hazard, wouldn't you?
It's why Mbappe, but you've got to remember Hazard's gone seasons where he's produced very low numbers, so I think that's a tiny bit unfair. But I get your point in general in terms of when you think of PSG, you think of Mbappe before you do Neymar, and that's quite weird considering aesthetically, there's no doubt that Neymar's the better footballer. Mbappe's very 2020, 2021 in terms of goals, assists, fast, strong, direct, and this kind of footballer. So it is a shame with Neymar. Very good to actually discuss that because he doesn't actually get as much coverage as I think he should. Boys, there's the matter of a small game tomorrow, Man City, Liverpool. This is 9 times out of 10 quite the spectacle. Is this a title definer?
Ooh.
Yeah, I'm
I'll
not too sure.
I'll say yeah. Yeah, I'll say yeah.
I wouldn't say it's a title definer on its own because obviously I know United are on
It will certainly help
United
to
are
shape
still
the
about.
title race.
I think it decides Liverpool's title race. I don't think it decides the title race in general. It decides whether they are going to be challengers or not because obviously them losing against Brighton.
What? So you think it's a must win for Liverpool?
I think it's a must. You have to get a result, and it has to get a result. Simple as. I think that's a game that decides their season, or decides whether they are going to be battling with the top sides or not. Obviously, most teams have been dropping points against the lower sides, like Brighton against Liverpool, for example, and obviously Burnley as well. And United have shown today they are obviously they're not at Man City's level, but so I do still think it's City's to lose.
Yeah, definitely. I can agree.
But obviously, United have been grinding out results. I know, obviously, they lost against Sheffield United, but have been grinding out results. And with a player like Bruno Fernandes, he's just so effective. And dare I mention McTominay, who's been very, very important for them lately. Just scored another goal for them actually to put them ahead.
The week I take him out, he's done big.
I think the thing with
United,
you're mentioning
like
United have game winners right now, and right now, obviously Salah and Mane. I don't see Liverpool's game winners. Like, who's going to come in clutch and get them that 1-0? And when Man United played Liverpool, you went, well, Rashford could nick a goal on the break. Oh, Pogba's playing well at the minute. Cavani, he's dangerous. And you looked at all these players and went, yeah, they're going to have a game. I don't look at this game and think City have approached it differently. Maybe to Salah, but I don't think City are as scared as they have been before. Like before, Pep has, I don't quite like the phrase, but perhaps overthought in terms of putting Zinchenko at left back before, and he's made weird decisions. Some paid off, obviously, in possibly the greatest football match I've ever watched when they beat when they beat Liverpool 2-1. But then you look at the Champions League games, you look at some of the league games, and Klopp got the better of him because Pep kind of overthought these situations. I don't think City have to do that right now. City are the ones to beat. Liverpool kind of
Yeah, so all the
collapsed.
pressure's on Klopp, basically.
Yeah,
Is what you're
Liverpool collapsed under the kind of
The
being
pressure of having
hunted, being
the
hunted.
pressure again.
Whereas City and Guardiola especially are used to that. All those players are used to that. So
And they've just played their game, really, haven't they? They haven't. I guess at the beginning of the season there was a little bit of. I'd imagine there would be a little bit of pressure on. Oh, would they be able to challenge Liverpool again? Will they be able to get back to the top? And obviously they didn't a little bit. They had that rough spell first. What was it? First 5-10 games. Maybe longer than that. And just since then, City have been the team to beat, and they've just been playing their football. I think Liverpool having the odd off result has benefited City massively because they can see they're saying, oh, they're crumbling. All we've got to do is just do our jobs, play what we're used to doing. Yeah, do what we're used to doing. Play our football. Recreate what you do in training. Recreate what you do against. Like in their wins, just say, yeah. I know I haven't summed it up well again, but just play their
you
football.
made your point well.
They've got no pressure on them. They've got
No, I get, yeah, I do get
they've got all the time. They've got all the freedom in the world to just play their football because all the teams around them are obviously crumbling a little bit. I guess they've got more. The City just have more about them than anyone else, and as I said, it's theirs to lose.
I think this brings kind of the impossible question in how do Liverpool go about this? Do they do the typical thing of sitting back and trying to hit on the break? Do they go there and dominate and try to get caught on the counter? Because you look at the potential sides City could play, I don't see many weaknesses. How do Liverpool get to City? I mean, a large part of it for me is I'd actually place Salah up top, however that may happen. I think we saw it last Liverpool City game. Klopp played a 4-2-2. And that really confused City, I think. But I think Salah, because of his movement, I think you've got to occupy Diaz in terms of how he defends. I think that might be Firmino's job. And then you've got to kind of separate the space for potential counters. So for me, that's what I would do. But how do Liverpool go about winning this football match?
I don't even know. Maybe even I'd say maybe look back to last season, not the City away because that was horrendous, and they're probably all still hungover. But just look back to the games because obviously the team is almost no different. It's almost no different. You've still got the same core of players throughout. Look back at the games where they've dominated them. So look back to the Champions League games, for example. Look back to those and think, and just play. I don't know if it'd probably be really annoying hearing me say this again, but play their football, play their game, instead of thinking, "Oh, we have to win this." It's just do it. Just do what you're paid to do, and
just
simple as that. And that's how I see it, really.
Cal, on Liverpool, I know we kind of covered it last pod, but they're still in or out. They lost again. I know he said kind of wait till it clicks, but it doesn't appear to be clicking.
Yeah.
What on earth do Liverpool do?
Well, I think. Well, I do understand that. I think that their injury concerns obviously do have a part to play in it. Obviously the biggest name that's out for them, Van Dijk. I think that's the main issue that they have because obviously Van Dijk, the role he plays, and the figure that he is in the team, you know, he's definitely, you know, a commander, and I think that's what they're sort of the Liverpool defence are sort of missing at the moment. Somebody, you know, who knows how to command, somebody who, you know, also can sorry, 1 second, can show by example as well. And I think that is something that Liverpool are definitely missing. I think also just their striker options. I think they've. I don't want to say they've lost their magic, because that just seems like a lazy way.
Yeah, because you
play.
saw them the other week against was it West Ham?
Yeah.
Some of the football they were putting together was unbelievable,
Yeah,
and that was a flash of what Liverpool can do and what Liverpool are.
but
So
I still
they just
think
need to
I
bring
still
back.
think it could be a form, you know, still a form thing as well. I still think that, you know, if they do get it back again, you know, I do still think that front three, Mane, Firmino, and Salah, I do think that they can still perform to what they have before. But I think, yeah, it's just literally at the moment it's a case of they're just not in form at the moment, and I think Klopp's not really helping it, because, you know, Klopp's always whining and making excuses, when I think what he should be doing instead is he should be trying to motivate the players to be
Be
better
tough love time.
instead of giving them excuses for poor performances.
Yeah, I do get that, but I've seen a little bit recently what Liverpool themselves have been posting about players, and I think Klopp said it's just not good enough. So I think the hammer is starting to come down.
Yeah,
And
Should have come down a long
honestly,
time before now.
oh
Surely.
yeah, it should have come down, what, 6 weeks ago?
Yeah.
Less than that, maybe even more than that. Or
Do you
just
think that's what?
whenever they had a slight dip in form, obviously you don't want to
yeah,
straight away. You don't let standards slip. I think that's what I've always been taught when I've been coached. You don't let that standard slip, no matter what form you're in. Because I think Klopp couldn't have been happy when they lost. What was it? 4-5-1 to City, the game after they won the title.
Yes. Yeah.
He would have been fuming with that. And as the manager, I would have been, obviously in the back of my mind is, okay, won the league, but as a manager, you don't want to carry the mindset of, oh, we're champions. We can go into next season thinking we're Billy Big Bollocks, and then just get toyed around with by the likes of Burnley and Brighton.
I think what come to mind when you said that was that Lampard Klopp video on the touchline. You've won one title and you're giving it the big gun.
Yeah.
and quite possibly Lampard had a point. Just quickly from the both of you, Man City look, for me, going to win the title fairly easily, although I think Man United will run them for a while. You two, Man City look destined, don't they?
Yeah.
Yeah, I can agree. Yeah, definitely. I think they definitely look on course for another title. I don't know, because with United, they're still sort of slipping up at the moment. And Man City, they're in that mode where they're just unstoppable. And
monsters.
I obviously I don't expect them to be every single game smashing everyone. Of course, I feel they're going to slip up, but I don't see Man City. This is their title to lose, I think.
Okay, that's the news. And down onto the final bits of the show. It is time for rapid rankings. This is the part of the show where we have a topic, we choose an opinion each on that topic, and then we rank them in order of belief that needs to happen, or that transfer, etc., etc. This week's topic was our controversial England squad and lineup picks. I'll lead with Dan because I know he's got a few points on this one.
Well, this is more of the reason why I didn't have a hot take at the start, is that mine kind of mixed together with this. That Jordan Pickford I know obviously he's not been playing too much for Everton recently, and everyone knows how like dodgy he's been. But I still think until he brings that form to England, or to an England game or an international tournament, or just on an international level, until he takes that form, until he starts messing up and like being a terrible goalkeeper, as a lot of people are saying, which I still don't think he is. Obviously, I know he's a bit erratic, but most keepers are, and coming from one myself, I see a lot of myself in him. If that were like, that's an insult and a compliment in some ways, but so like he'll make the world class saves and do the easy stuff wrong, but I'm still yet to see a poor performance from him in an England shirt. And I think I asked Reece earlier. I said, name me one game, just one, or even one moment where Jordan Pickford has made that sort of error or played poorly for England. And I think you sat there for about a couple minutes and couldn't think of a thing.
Yeah, it's an interesting debate in terms of do you drop them because they're in poor form for the club, because that's where they get called up. But equally, he hasn't let us down yet, so it's a difficult one. For me, I side with you just for the purposes of momentum and confidence, which are like two of the biggest things in football, especially tournament football. Cal, where do you fall on Pickford for England?
Pickford. Well, to be fair, it's generally I agree, because I think when you look at Pickford for Everton, well, this is me anyway. When I look at Pickford when he plays for Everton, I'm like, oh, how on earth has he got the number one shirt for the international team? And then when he plays for England, I'm like, why can't he do this for his club?
Yes,
Like,
yeah.
really confusing, and I don't get it. It's just really confusing, like how one hand he can be, probably a world class quality.
I guess edging on it, if you don't make mistakes and you do everything that's asked of you, then the argument can be made, but obviously only at that level. But I guess anyone needs to be at that level. If you're an international player, then you need to be at that sort of
Goalkeeper
level.
is a difficult position anyway, never mind in tournament football where one goal changes everything. Think Joe Hart, Euro 2012. I know we like to erase 2012 from our minds, so it's an interesting call, definitely. Cal, what's your controversial England squad pick or lineup pick?
England squad pick, right?
Who you'd think that would go in, but not for most people.
Because I would choose Grealish
In the lineup?
Yeah, just because
As a winger?
Yeah.
Okay,
Because
I'll somewhat count that as controversial, just about. But go on.
No, I love Grealish as a left back, and I love it.
No, Southgate loves the right backs. He might play him right back.
Yeah, I'll play him right back. Yeah, great thing. But no, I do think that it's Grealish. He's been given his first England caps way too late. Anyway.
Yeah, it should have been earlier, shouldn't it? I think the main thing, I said it last week, most international sides would base their side around Jack Grealish. He's that good. And every time we've watched him in an England shirt, everyone's stepped back and gone, wow. Even against Belgium, who are currently top of the world rankings. So yeah, he had certain flair to the England side he didn't have before, because the midfields of Dyer, Henderson, Phillips and Rice can get pretty ordinary. So yeah, I'd like to put him in the midfield, but I don't think you can because of how much he's played on the wing. Dan, where do you fall on Grealish?
Well, I think that's a pretty regular pick for most, to be fair.
I think it's just because of
Maybe not everyone would have him start, which I can see. I can understand arguments for and against. But I'm not too sure really. I'm not too sure whether I'd start him or not. Yeah, I'm honestly, I'm at a loss for words. I'm not too sure whether I would start him or not. I guess it depends on the game, whether it's a defense you run out or exploit the fullbacks, or just someone where you just need a player like Grealish to just make a difference, just to be that something else. Obviously, maybe against higher quality opposition, you'd probably play him, I'd say, and lower quality opposition, you'd stick with wingers / inside forwards, like or different, more traditional. Say you'd start your Sanchos, your Sterlings, your Rashfords, even Foden maybe, but I see he'd make more of a difference. Against a higher quality team, because he's just his technical ability is just incredible, and I think that would just set him apart from the other wingers that are available to them.
It's a fair shout. So that's Pickford starts, Grealish starts. Quickly on England, DCL has just scored a 95th minute equaliser against United at Old Trafford. I have two. I'm going to say two, but I'm going to explain one. My first one actually goes to Chris Smalling. Obviously, I doubt Southgate's watching much Serie A, but he's been very, very good for Roma. He's been crucial, and I felt he was always. I think he was always memed when it wasn't necessary, and I think he's a good balance of centre back, which I don't think we have. The one I'm going to explain is I take Patrick Bamford to the Euros. I can hear. I can hear the laughter now, but in terms of link-up play, and this is proven because how Leeds play, you're not going to find anyone better than Patrick Bamford. He's improved his output. He works as hard as anyone due to having to, because he works under Bielsa. I think
he's got a few more assists lately as well, so he seems to have added that to his game.
He fits with flair, as we've seen. He works with not long ball, but a bit more direct. We've seen a variation of styles, and he's in form as he has been this whole season. So for me, Bamford goes to the Euros. Cal, I interrupted you, so I'll let you take that.
No, I know. I actually agree with you on the Bamford.
We all agree with each other. What a weird time to be alive.
Yeah, but who do you take him over anyone, or like who do you take him over? That's the question.
Tammy, for me. I think Tammy's a rather direct striker, and we'd have to change how we. For example, these games England play, like the one against Wales, where we just completely change our style. We go 3-5-2. Saka, left wing back, etc. And I know we won, but it was completely different. Calvert-Lewin was this kind of target man, and Tammy plays them sort of games. And for me, to win tournaments, you go through one style that just works. And for me, Bamford suits England more right now than Tammy does. And does Tammy deserve it? Not particularly for me. I take Kane, I take Calvert-Lewin, I take Bamford, I take Ollie Watkins, which is another controversial one, but the one I'm sticking with is Bamford.
Yeah, like Ollie Watkins might be. I don't know. Maybe I'm not too sure with that. Actually, it's a good point, because Ollie Watkins, you'd argue, has adapted much quicker than Bamford has, and you'd say, imagine how well he could adapt to international football, because he didn't take long to he hit the ground running with in the Premier League. He's the quickest. He's got 10 goals in a season. Like, obviously in his career, at different levels. I think it when he was in League Two, took him 32 games. He was in the Championship. I think it took him 30 games. I think it was. It was around that. It might have been 35 games. I'm not too sure. And in the Premier League, he's done it in 23. I think it is. Those are rough numbers, but because I saw a tweet earlier.
Yeah, I saw that tweet.
It's around that, and he's obviously he does pick up the odd assist as well. So
yeah, England's striker situation is a lot better than it was a year or two ago. I have a feeling I'm going to be last in these rankings, but I'll happily take that one on the chin, given your two opinions. It's just between you two. Which one do you feel is more crucial to England? Which one do we feel more passionate on? Whether Grealish starts or whether Pickford starts?
I mean, personally, I'm saying Grealish because that's my choice.
Well, I guess because we've already got Pope in there, so I guess we've got backups. But obviously Grealish just brings something different. So if I was to, I know they're very different players, but if I was to say one more important than the other, I'd say that having Grealish in is obviously a more important one than Pickford. Although
this is more in terms of the lineup. So Grealish starts for England, Pickford starts for England. I assume was your two kind of opinions.
Oh yeah. As I said, with Grealish depends on the game. But Pickford, obviously, just every game he's got to start. I know it seems a bit unfair on Nick Pope because he's been insane, and I'm not leaving him out due to any ability or form. It's just purely the fact that how well Jordan Pickford's done internationally. So yeah, he starts, and Grealish, I'll agree, but not in every game. Only in certain games where he suits him.
Out of those two, for me, and I agree with them both, by the way. So, Gareth, I know you're a big fan of us, so I think you should do all three of the things we said. But yeah, if I was to choose only one of those, due to the form Nick Pope's been in, I side more with Callum because, as I said, I think most international sides base their whole team around Jack Grealish because he's that good a creator. Direct and flair-wise. So that's in third, Bamford to the Euros. Second, Pickford to start. And first is Jack Grealish to start. And that is the rapid rankings, everyone. Wasn't very rapid, but still. That actually...
Nothing we do here is very rapid, is it?
No, we have too many opinions. I've definitely never been told that before. That does bring an end to the After Hours News show. Thank you very much to everyone for listening. Dan and Cal, have you enjoyed this?
No, I've hated every second of it. I want to go to sleep now and cry.
Oh well, I look forward to your company next week, same time next week.
I am I've felt good about it, and I hope all of you listening right now, if you've made it this far,
Congratulations.
I
sorry.
hope you're okay from having to listen to Mr. Reece Donnelly for about an hour and a bit. But I do hope that you continue to enjoy these episodes, and I do hope you join us next time.
Yes, the other shows will be coming soon. The ESL show, the question show, and a few other little things we've got planned. Daniel's about to say something.
I don't really know. It's at the end. I've done a lot of talking. My brain's all over the place. I think it's a good time to call it.
Thank you very much for listening, everyone. This has been the After Hours News show on the Specialists in Failure podcast.
And now we're going to go play Rocket League.
Thank you for listening.